Hello, I'm Lou Walker. I'm a registered health coach, which means I help people find ways to feel in control of their health and make the changes they need to live life to the full. In this video, we're going to touch on some of the areas where small changes can have a big impact on your health. And I hope it might give you a few ideas for things that might work for you. Our bodies are amazing. Over the last 200,000 years, they've evolved into well-oiled machines that can cope with just about anything life throws at them. And when life does throw something at them, like an infection or an injury or some other stressor, they respond and adapt and bounce back. For this to happen, they need daylight, good sleep, manageable stress levels, and movement and exercise, all underpinned with good diet. When most of these things are in place for most of the time, our bodies are robust and efficient. And if something's not quite right, we probably won't even notice. However, if several things aren't right, our body might start to give us warning signs that it's not 100% happy. Of course it'll keep working, but it'll stutter and backfire. We'll start to notice a dip in our vitality and our symptoms will begin to build up. Modern life often does give our bodies too much to deal with, doesn't it? But let's reframe this, because where there's a problem, there's an opportunity. So let's have a look at where those opportunities are. Daylight is so important for our health. I think with coronavirus lockdown, so many of us have missed going outside and getting some daylight. It's a real source of well-being and a deeply held need that I think perhaps most of us didn't realise we had until it was taken away. We need sunlight to make vitamin D, which is essential for all sorts of things in our bodies, like bone health and a strong immune system. So you can start to see that if you don't have enough light because your job or your life keeps you indoors, we might start to have a problem. Morning light in particular contains blue light, which resets our body clocks every day. But in the evenings, when our body clocks are expecting us to be getting closer to sleep, we confuse things by turning on lights and looking at screens which emit blue light. So too much light in the evenings can affect our sleep. And we have so many lights in our bedrooms, don't we? From phones, alarm clocks, TVs and street lights. We also can't sleep unless we're tired. Morning blue light is really helpful for this, but caffeine isn't, because it interferes with the chemical that makes us feel sleepy. We all have different sensitivities to caffeine, but typically if you have a cup of coffee at noon, by midnight a quarter of that caffeine is still circulating in your blood. And alcohol makes us feel sleepy, but it disrupts our sleep. Lots of good things happen when we sleep, but we tend to cut it short by going to bed after dark and setting an alarm. That wakes us with a jolt, and there's our first dose of stress for the day. Stress can be useful. It keeps us safe in an emergency by turning us temporarily superhuman, but it is meant to be a temporary situation with long periods of calm being the norm. But modern life turns this completely upside down. So anything we can find that helps us to avoid stressful situations or neutralise them is helpful. Things that slow down our breathing and absorb us mentally are fantastic. So think yoga, walking, singing, stroking the cat, taking lots of deep breaths. These are fantastic, but the trick is to find something that works for you. Exercise is fantastic for reducing health. Something rhythmic and gentle, not too strenuous, is fantastic for mopping up all those stress hormones so that the feel-good hormones can take over. In fact, exercise is an all-round wonder drug. Look at all the benefits that Public Health England talk about. As well as stress reduction, it helps sleep and mood and reduces our risk of all sorts of health problems. There's also great news if at the moment you don't do any exercise at all. The greatest benefits come from if you do no exercise and you start doing some. This graph shows health benefits according to how many minutes a week you exercise. Can you see how steeply the graph climbs if you go from nothing to 100 minutes a week? What a fantastic incentive to start off with, say, a 10-minute walk a few times a week. Then we come to diet. Where do we start on such a huge topic? Your body will love it if you do everything you can to cut right down on sugar and processed convenient foods. It's what I spend a lot of time helping my health coaching clients do, and I know it's tough, but it has such huge benefits. Sugar's addictive, and most processed foods contain hidden sugars, which is why it really helps to avoid them. I can't stress enough that there's no right or wrong way to do this, but things that have got people off to a good start in the past are things like reducing sugar in hot drinks, starting to cook from scratch more, and avoiding snacks. What else? Could you turn off a few lights in the evening? Could you keep your caffeine intake until the morning? Could you carve out 10 minutes every day to do something that you find calming? I really hope this video has given you a few ideas about some small changes you can make to get a really big impact on your health. If you do have some ideas, do let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know what they are and where you think you might start. I'll explore all these topics in more depth in future videos, but in the meanwhile, if you want any more information or ask questions, please do get in touch with me through my website. Now, I'm a health coach, I'm not a doctor, so it always makes sense to check with your GP if you're thinking of making any changes. But I hope that you can see that improving your health doesn't necessarily have to mean starting with something big. It might start with something small, and lots of small things can add up. If this video's been useful, please like it, give it a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe to my channel. There's a button down here. And in the meantime, I'm really looking forward to hearing how you're getting on.